Alright, let's do an update on ICP. So we have broken out of this, downtrend that we highlighted in the previous video. This obviously only has, a semi-good amount of touch points. If we do zoom out, you can see that ICP is in this greater descending wedge, and this has been in play since kind of since back here, but we've got our first touch points round about the 4th of September on the top, and you can also argue that this has been going on since the start of August. So I mean, nothing has changed too much since the last video. We have hopped over this trend line, which is good. We outlined in the previous video, if we were able to kind of back test this, I do expect that we would be coming up to at least 26, which from where we are now is about a 25% pump. If we did at that point manage to break above this trend line, which is why we've kind of got a circle around it, then the next level up would be 40%. And if we did hop above that trend line, then you can see us back testing this and being off to the races. But what I said in my previous video was the risk to reward ratio for this coin is a little bit too high for me. I do see quite a lot of resistance coming in. We are still sitting above the 618 of this micro move, so in the short term we have back tested the most important support that we need to be above. We have broken out of this semi-micro pattern that's been in place for the last couple of weeks, so things could be more bearish in the short term. I do believe that we're fairly neutral right now because we are bullish in the short term, and we are obviously very bearish in the long term. That is really not something you can argue with. If you do want to argue that we're not bearish in the long term, then look at this chart and tell me how we're not bearish in the long term. We are in a huge bear flag right now. That doesn't mean that we're not going to break to the upside of it, but in my personal trading plan is to not touch this coin until we have made a decision. I'd much rather buy this coin after we do something like this and break out 40%, backtest this, and then go off to the races, simply because I mean, even from there you could make a trade up to the 200-day moving average, which would be something like this, and you can see that we would have like a nice 30% pump. There's really no resistance after we get above here. We do have a box of resistance here and here, which is fairly small, so even in the worst case scenario, I see us having a 26% pump once we do break above this. So like I said, in my opinion, the risk is not worth picking up this coin right now, but in the short term, technically speaking, we are fairly bullish. So if we finish off with the volume and the RSI before heading over to the BTC pair, you can still see that the volume is heading down. So this is obviously very indicative that we're in a pattern. Whenever we are in these greater patterns, the volume does typically decrease until we make a decision. There is not really much volume coming in today, but the volume that we do have is selling volume. So something like this where we do back test and then start heading off to the races is very likely. On the RSI is also very, very nice. I mean, we back tested the 30, which was great, came back up to the heart line, came down, had a higher low, and now it looks like we're heading up. So I do believe if we are able to get above 51 on the RSI, then we could have a huge move like this to 70 on the RSI, which in my opinion would at least kind of bring us up to this 29, which from where we are now is a 40% pump. So like I said, I am sitting on the sidelines for this coin. I don't really like this coin. I won't be accumulating it on spot at all, but I wouldn't mind taking a trade once we do have some more confluence going on in the market. So yeah, that is all for the USD pair. If we do pop over to the BTC pair, you can see that we've had a alright double bottom so far. So we have held the previous bottom that we put in all the way here on the 20th of December. The volume is still decreasing, but we are getting a tiny bit of green volume coming in. Also, similarly, we do have this nice kind of W pattern setting up, or a double bottom, whatever you want to call it. But the RSI, looks relatively healthy for this coin. So in my opinion, I do believe, at least in the short term, ICP might see a big pump against Bitcoin. If we do come over to the USD as well, I mean, this coin is kind of setting up for a nice W. So like I said, if we do break above 24, I see us coming up to 27 and then 29. the reason why I said the risk adjusted returns are not really worth it to me is because right now we have strong resistance here, we've got strong resistance here, we have strong resistance at this point, and yeah, I mean, from that point we really don't have anything until up here. So I would be sitting on the sidelines until we saw a decision for the market. So yeah, I mean, that's really all I've got for ICP right now. Once again, none of this is financial advice. It is just my opinion on the market, and you've always got to do what's best for you. Peace.